Hello and welcome. So happy to be here today again, as every Monday. And today I'm going to talk about something that I sometimes get a little bit frustrated about. Okay, I don't know about you, but you often see posts where they talk about how childhood trauma results in all those disease in adulthood. Okay, and you might have seen those quotes as well with the quote cards or the memes, but they refer back to the ACE study. Okay, so they have the ACE study there, and then it has like cardiovascular disease, diabetes, autoimmune diseases, irritable bowel, and all these kind of things on it. Okay, so I'm going to talk to that today. We're going to talk about that ACE study, and we talk about epigenetics and what that all means for us. Okay, well, what we can do about that. I think that's the most important thing. Okay, so let's get straight into it because we've got lots to cover today. So first, that ACE study. So it's that Adverse Childhood Event Study. It was based on a questionnaire back. It was published in 1996, I believe. So it's quite an old study, a couple of decades old, right? So we had a lot more research done since then. But the results were based on a questionnaire that people filled out and handed back to the GP. And the key findings of that study were not that childhood trauma causes disease. The key finding were, the first one was that they were really surprised that childhood trauma or the abuse, adverse events in childhood are far more common than they thought. So many more people had that. The second finding was that people who had adverse childhood events were more likely to engage in risk behavior. And the risk behavior were things like sedentary lifestyle, you're eating, you're drinking, smoking, drugs, or those real risky, adventurous kind of hobbies that some people have, those kind of risk behaviors. And it was the risk behaviors, the people who engaged in the risk behaviors were more likely to have disease, right? So it's very key here, because in the last couple of decades, we've done a lot more research, and we have a lot of data showing that things like diet can really influence whether you're going to develop diabetes in your life or not, whether you're going to have inflammatory conditions or not, and things like that, not just the diet, all those kind of things together, right? And then I often hear people say as well that, it's all in my genes. It's been passed down to me from generation to generation. There's always been abuse in my family, looking back for how far you can look back. And our genes as such they don't change that much over hundreds, thousands of years. They stay much the same. What actually changes is what we call epigenetics. It's your gene expression. What kind of genes are turned on or turned off? Which ones are upregulated or which ones are downregulated? And the cool thing about this is that this can be influenced, and this can be changed over a lifetime. Sometimes even just something that you're exposed to from the environment can change that, but it's not just what happens in the external world, but also what happens within us, and our internal world really can influence our epigenetics. So, and that's what I got really excited about. Okay, so let's look at what can we actually do when we now know that it's the risk behaviors I can influence that, and what does it mean for the epigenetics? Because there's more than the stress component there. But the first thing that I had to do, and that was really difficult for me, is start to look after my body. I had to start stopping, trying to stop some of my risk behaviors. The drinking, the smoking, and the eat. I was doing anything I was hurting my body, and often deliberately as well. I just hated myself. I didn't want to look after that body. So I had to kind of befriend my body a little bit more, or realize that, okay, this is the container I was given to come to this planet at this time for this lifetime, and it's my job to look after this container as good as I can. That was, by the way, my purpose of life for a while, because I was just so lost. I didn't know what to do. So that was what was my focus. Okay, how can I look after my container? I couldn't even call it body, my container, a little bit better. Okay. And that was the first thing, because I know that can influence my epigenetics, that can influence whether I'm going to develop some disease or not, because I know some of you listening here might be younger and you might not have any disease yet. For me, I already had quite a few diagnoses, and I know a lot of people watching here, you might be old, you might be 50 or 60, you might have a whole range of, arthritis or, the fibromyalgia and things like that, those really painful kind of conditions. So I knew I needed to kind of start looking after the container a little bit better. That was kind of my first step. And also creating some safety within my body. Because the stress, when we're having, the stress response is normal and it's really needed, okay? When something dangerous happens, we want our body to rechannel all that energy and resources to our hands and our legs, the muscles, so we can actually run or fight and protect ourselves, keep us safe. That's really important. And that's usually a very short-lived kind of experience, right? Then once we're safe again, our body restores balance, restores harmony, everything goes back to normal, and the energy and resources get redistributed to our immune system, to our digestive system, and all those things. So, and that's okay, that nothing happens. But that was different for us in our childhood, wasn't it? Because we had one traumatic event happening after the other, after the other, after the other. So we kind of got stuck in that survival mode, in that hyper-vigilant, kind of on edge kind of state, right? Where we constantly were on alert. When is the next thing going to happen? And when we stay in this state for too long, then that puts us at great risk of developing disease. So when we bring that into our adult life, right, even knowing right here, right now, I'm by myself and stuff, it's sometimes, do you feel safe? Just being here, listening to that video, having a sense of, okay, I can relax a little bit now. How can I get my nervous system to just calm down a little bit right now? I'm actually safe. And that, I think, is the most important thing when we start therapy, to focus on that. So many therapists go the first few sessions, in the first few sessions, ask you to tell a trauma story or what happened. That's not the right thing right there. That actually is just re-traumatizing. It keeps you up there in that survival mode. The first thing should be restoring safety, helping you feeling safe in that body, in the here and now, so your nervous system can reset. Because like I was saying, we want our smoke alarm to go off when there's fire. We don't want our smoke alarm to go off when we turn the toaster on, right? That's annoying. But in a way, that was what my alarm system was doing, my amygdala. It was alerting me to things there was no need to alert me to. It was giving me all these false alarms. And all these false alarms caused all that release of all these stress hormones, and the stress hormones that causes damage over time if we keep doing that. So there was a big chunk. So at the beginning, I was really focusing on being a little kinder to my body, looking after my body a little bit better, and helping myself to feel safer, learning practices to really calm my nervous system, to reset this. I literally had to reset that, and I know so many of you probably feel the same. Let me know in the comments too, if you're going through the phase and you felt like, I just can't get down, I'm stuck up there in that survival mode, and I don't know what that means to be calm. Okay, and it wasn't just that. I was that stress, the level of stress I had about everything. I felt like I had such a stressful job. Like I said, I felt like I had such a stressful job, and it was at the job where I realized that this is me. I'm doing this because here was me and my co-worker. We both had just identical qualification, really, we had the same degrees. We were in the industry for about the same time. We worked at that place for about the same time. She was a little bit younger than me. But here was me, fully stressed out, and she was calm. Same day, same situation, same everything. I was stressed and she was calm. And that's when I realized, what is going on? And I realized it was what I was thinking, what I was making things mean about me, the way things are going, how I interpreted things, how I perceived things. And that was very different to what she did, because I got really curious then. How do calm people think? What do they believe? What kind of stories are they telling themselves? What they make things mean about themselves? Because I realized that it's my thinking that actually escalates my stress levels for me. Let me know if that's you too. I'm an expert at catastrophizing, right? So I really had to unlearn that part of myself, and just the way I saw myself and things like that. So I really studied that for a long time. Look, people were being very curious, asking questions on how to do that. And I really got into the whole high performance kind of industry, checking in on people who are really, really successful or very efficient, or those athletes. You know, how do they think about themselves? What do they say to themselves when they get up in the morning? So they have the energy and the motivation, and they don't feel so stressed, even knowing they have such full-on days. What I see, how I perceived it, that was my interpretation of seeing their schedule. It's like, wow, this is such a full-on day, and I was already stressed out, and it's not even my thing, it's their thing, right? So I really wanted to learn from them. How do they think differently? And those kind of things help me. So looking after my body, learning to get a sense of safety in my body, in the here and now, and reducing my perceived levels of stress, you know, changing the way I think about things and the way I structure my days to help me feel less stressed. And all those things affect our gene expression, which kind of genes are upregulated or downregulated. And truly, so when I was first diagnosed, this was 2006, and I had a lot of my joint pains, and there were times that were really, really intense. All the way to now, I'm feeling so much calmer, so much, you know, so much spaciousness and peace, and you know, it's beautiful. My life is beautiful, and all those kind of pains, they almost fizzled out by themselves. I didn't have to have any treatments for them. So I'm just saying that we are very powerful in the way we can change our genes, so we can upregulate those inflammatory kind of cells that go through and cause us all the pain. We can downregulate it, because once we're calmer again, our body, like I said, when we're in a survival mode, our body sends all the resources and all the energy to our muscles to fight and protect ourselves and keep us safe. But once we are calm and balanced again, our body can then use that energy and those resources for our immune system, for our gut system, to heal, get rid of the dead cells, malfunctioning cells, and so forth. So you can restore health. So I have a practice where I just lie down for especially the times when I was really, really sick still, or that 20 minutes I would just lie in my bed doing nothing, so I can have the lights dimmed, just lying there, and allowing that to be a time where my body can just reset. I'm just restoring, I'm like giving my body time to just balance, and I was kind of imagining kind of cells going through my body, doing the cleaning up, and I'm just going to be there and calm and giving my body that time. And so that's just one of the things that I did. But yeah, I'm curious. Please share with us too. What kind of things have you done and tried out to help you to either look after your body, so give up those risk behaviors? That was really tough, right? Giving up drinking and smoking and things like that. It's difficult. It was really difficult for me, for sure. You know, doing that. Or what are some things that you do to help you look after your container a little bit better and feel safer in your body? I think it's so beautiful that we have the technology these days, that we can talk to people from all around the world, right? I really geek out about that, because we can learn from everyone and different ideas, because we're all so unique. What might work for me might not work for you, and vice versa. But when we have whole communities where we can discuss, it's like, oh, I kind of like what you said, and what you said, and how can I merge that and tweak it to make it fit into my life? And that can just be very transformative. And that's why I like my Thriveroo community too, my fellow Thriveroo people out there. So I would invite you, if that is something you're craving for, then please check out the Thriveroo community. We have Zoom calls every week where we get together and we can have discussions, you know, what's working for you, what's not working for you, and we can brainstorm, we can have laughs together, we can cheer each other on, and it just makes that whole healing journey, that whole process a little bit more, I don't know, more fun, but also that connection, having that sense of belonging. Hey, I'm not doing this by myself, and it's not just me who finds this difficult, you know, and seeing other people progressing can be a spark of hope for us, of inspiration, because if someone else can say, oh, it is possible, it's possible for me too, and you keep at it there. So and I think that's enough for me today, but I hope you find that helpful, and as always, sending you lot of love and rainbows to brighten up the tough times just a little. See you guys, bye!